Yo, if you're new to the channel, thanks for watching Pond Saga 5. Subscribe now. Just do it already.
Man, it's hot out here today. I ain't even gonna lie, but besides all that, yo, what's up? It's your boy Pond Saga 5. If you're new here, welcome to the chaos. I just want y'all to know that my channel isn't just about aquariums and ponds. It's so much more than that. It's about failures, growth, wild comebacks, and monster fish. If you're new here, here's everything you missed and why you need to catch up before the next wave. I'm gonna be basically dropping the cliff notes of my seasons 1 through 5 just to catch you guys up to speed that are new. So yeah, basically, you know what I'm saying, I'm just doing this for you guys, you know what I'm saying. If you like watching fish and monster fish and, you know, you're new to the hobby and you want to see, you know, what's all involved in the journey, you know what I'm saying, you can watch my journey. Also, just to let you guys know off the bat, these videos are going to be longer than my normal content. But for all the fish lovers, that don't even matter to y'all. I know you guys are going to appreciate this. I put a lot of work into it. Make sure you subscribe to the channel. Make sure you drop a thumbs up. And also, you know what I'm saying, make sure you guys start leaving some comments and showing your boy love, you know what I'm saying. Taking my time to edit these videos take a lot, you know what I'm saying. So just let me know that I'm doing the right thing and you love seeing my content. That's all I ask. Also, I want to give a big shout out to all my day ones, to all y'all that's been holding me down ever since I started my channel. If you're new to the channel, once again, thanks for watching your boy Pond Saga 5. Now let's dive in.
I've been fish keeping for about 4 years, and I've had my YouTube channel for a little bit over more than a year. And let me tell you, it's been one heck of a journey, and I've learned so much. I learn something new every day. I make mistakes. I'm not perfect, but I'd love it if you guys came along for the journey. Subscribe to my channel so we can learn together and grow together. Yo, if you're new to the channel, thanks for watching Pond Saga 5.
Just cut this plant back a few weeks ago, and it's already starting to get thick again. This plant is a monster. Are y'all hungry? Look at you.
Welcome to Pond Saga 5. This right here is my predator pond. These are my red Oscars, tiger Oscars. I have albino Oscars in here. I have azul peacock bass in here. I have kelberry peacock bass in here. I have silver arowanas in here. I have different plants in here. But it didn't always used to look like this. Welcome to my journey. So on day 1, I started off with 4 silver arowanas, 2 kelberry peacock bass, and 1 azul peacock bass. By day 18, I had lost a silver arowana, and I decided to go and get another azul peacock bass. By day 24, you can already see how they're growing. They're eating well, they're tearing these pellets up. They are fast and full of energy, and not to mention highly aggressive. They show no mercy on these pellets or anything that touches the water that resembles food. They are predators by nature. Don't let those cute faces and their size fool you. By day 42, you can already see that they're putting on some more size. The arowanas are around 10 inches, and the peacock bass, they're about 7 inches. The arowanas are always swimming towards the surface. This is because they have lungs and they need air to breathe. I've never seen them sleep. I'm doing the routine water change right here because I feed them a lot, and so they create lots of waste. And because of this, I have to do water changes twice a week just to stay on top of the clarity of the water and keep the pH balance under control. If the nitrates get too high, it can result in loss of fish. And that's a nightmare that no fish keeper wants to wake up to in the morning.
Go ahead, get it. There you go.
When the fish feel comfortable with you, they will come up. But it takes trust. These guys are getting huge and aggressive. By day 63, you can see a noticeable difference in their size. Not only that, you can see a noticeable difference in their colors and the patterns that they display. But that comes with the territory when you're raising monster fish. By day 85, these guys are really active and getting really big. At this point, I now realize that this tank is getting too small for them. This is my first time keeping monster fish, and they've grown so much within a short time frame that I've had them. It's been 3 months now, and you can see how big they've gotten, and they are destroying anything that touches the water. Crickets, feeder fish, pellets, whatever hits the water, they're gonna hit it. It's so exciting to watch them eat, and they're really personable. They're always looking out the glass, waiting for me to feed them. They are just so fascinating to watch, and especially when you have them when they're small and you watch how fast they grow, it's absolutely mind-blowing. And as a fish keeper, I never forget these moments. Yes, big is an understatement. At this point, it's clear to me that they're going to outgrow this grow out tank, which is a 75-gallon, faster than I anticipated. And now I have to think about plans to build a pond in my backyard just so I can accommodate their size. The water looks a little cloudy due to a beneficial bacterial bloom, but it will clear up soon. On this day, I went out and I picked me up some Oscars. These are red Oscars, they're babies. The reason why I got the Oscars last is because I've owned Oscars in the past and I know how fast they grow. They would have grown too big, too fast, and started bullying the rest of the fish that are in my tank. These guys are what you call tank busters.
When it comes to this title, they want all the smoke. These arowana fish, they are known to jump out of the water in the wild to grab their prey off of tree limbs. Oh, and one tiny detail I forgot to mention, they also have teeth. And before you know it, just like that, what started off as an indoor journey was now about to make its way outside. First things first, I was going to originally build my pond out of wood, but when I got to the cash register, it was more than I expected because it was during the pandemic and prices of materials had gone up. So a wooden pond that was only supposed to cost me $200 in total was now about to cost me almost $1,000 in materials. Bruh. And yeah, about that. This right here is an 8x8 polystock tank. So what that means is it's 8 feet long and 8 feet wide. Something of this size is able to hold up to 700 gallons of water. And to the right hand side, you see my PVC pipe, my cinder block concrete, and you also see a little crate that has lava rock in it. I'll show you what I do with that stuff later. Here in sunny South Florida, it gets hot. So there's a couple of reasons why you need to have shade over your pond. The first reason is you don't want the water temperatures in the pond to rise too high to the point to where it starts to cook your fish. And the second reason is when pond water comes in direct sunlight, it can cause an algae bloom, which basically means your water will turn green and you won't be able to see any of your fish. Third reason is you want a nice cool spot to sit when you observe your fish during the daytime. This shade tent structure is 6 feet tall and 10 feet wide, which is perfect for me. Here, I place some root barrier in the section where I'm going to be sitting the pond, just in case later down the road I want to put some mulch around it, or if I want to put some pebbles around it and I don't want any weeds to pop up. The next thing I had to figure out was how I was going to actually power the pond. With a lot of research, I decided to put an outlet in my backyard all by myself. It was a lot of work, but it was worth it, and I learned a lot of things along the way. I basically dug up dirt from the ground, created a ditch, and basically, made my own outlet. Ran this underground. Through the trenches. What? Through here. Put this up on here. I'm not gonna lie. Putting an outlet in the backyard is pretty cool and probably one of the most rewarding things that I learned how to do. But I'm not even gonna front. This outlet was mad annoying and gave me a lot of problems. But I worked on it day and night, and eventually I got it to work. All right. So for this project, I'm gonna be using 8 bags of clay sand, a bag of lava rock, got a couple PVC fittings. Let's go. So right here, I'm giving this clay sand a rinse because I don't want extra dust particles in my pond. Right here, I'm also giving the lava rock a rinse as well because I don't want extra dust in my filtration system either. I turned this ordinary 32-gallon garbage bin into a DIY filter for my pond. The DIY filter that also helps you with clear water. This filter build is a beast of a filtration system. I have to give myself a pat on the back for building this one. And also helps you with easy water changes. This simple modification definitely comes in handy. The sand has been added. Now it's time to fill the pond with water. This part right here was so satisfying, knowing through all the trials and tribulations I faced trying to get this pond up and running. I can't even put into words, really. It was a struggle. Hot days,
long nights, but at the end of the day, this is well worth it. I was able to see my fruits of labor. Hard work really does pay off. I was so proud of myself. I had to take a step back just to take it all in. Like, wow, I did that. Look at the size of these baby arowana fish, pushing a foot, barely fitting into the bucket. Going down on me. You good to go? Let me get some more water in there. Get it acclimated real quick. Get the cup message. Please do not jump out of me. Y'all ready for that pond life here? Hey, relax. This pond looks absolutely amazing. And when I think about all the hard work I put into this, I still can't believe my eyes. These fish are living in my backyard in a pond that I put up for the very first time. Everything is matching aesthetically. We have the white, the purple, the green, the fish, their coloration, the sunlight beaming off the bottom of the sand. It looks crazy. Wow, look at the colors on these fish just popping out. Look at the green grass, the pebbles at the bottom. This right here is truly majestic. To you, this may seem like an ordinary pond, but to me, every time I look at it, I see something more. It's a constant reminder to myself that nothing happens overnight. You have to have patience. You have to trust the process. Being out here, breathing in the fresh air, listening to the wildlife, the nature, the birds, this right here brings me peace. This right here is therapeutic for me. This right here, this is more than just a hobby to me. This right here is a passion. Welcome to Pond Soccer 5. Until next time. Wow, look at this big silver arowana right here. A lot of people aren't able to get them to this size at the amount of time that I got them to, but that's a whole different secret. I might let y'all in on a different episode. I can't promise anything though. But yo, look at how clear this water is right here. There's a few different factors that play a role into keeping your pond water crystal clear like this. One of them is beneficial bacteria. Another one of them is to keep plants inside of your pond to help with the nitrates. And also one of the most important ones is your DIY filter. That's what today's episode is about. I'm gonna show you how to build a pond filter for under 30 bucks. And this is what you need. All right, so in order to turn this 5-gallon bucket into a DIY powerhouse filter for your pond for 500 gallons or less, you want to start off with a regular bucket just like this. And what you want to end up doing is you want to get you a 1.5-inch hole saw or a 1-inch hole saw. And basically what you want to do is you want to put a circle around here. You want to put a hole in there. So if you don't have a hole saw, if you have a sharp object, what you might want to do is measure your PVC pipe just like this. You might want to make a circle with a permanent marker around it. And what you want to do is you want to cut maybe about 1/2 inch more around that same circle, just so you can put your uniseal in there. So that's what I did for this bucket right here. What I did was
I cut a hole in it with my hole saw. As you can see, this is 1 inch right here, is the PVC pipe. But you're gonna need more space to put this uniseal around it. So I would say, you know, give yourself about a 1/2 inch. So you're gonna put the uniseal onto there, and you're gonna stick the PVC pipe down in there. But also what you wanna do is get some silicone. You wanna silicone around it right here, and then silicone the outside of the layers right here. And you're gonna do the same thing for the inside of the bucket right here. You wanna silicone the inside around. And this right here, I believe is a 45-degree elbow right here, which you wanna use. And you wanna just basically put it on there snug just like this. So when the water starts to come up like this, it can have some place to go into. Also, you wanna get a little small bucket just like this. You wanna put a hole in it. But this right here is gonna sit at the bottom just like that. And then you wanna get you another piece of PVC pipe. This piece of PVC pipe right here is about a foot. You wanna get you another one about a foot. You don't wanna make it higher than the bucket. But what you wanna do with maybe just a saw or something sharp, you wanna cut it at a slant at the tip just like this. So when you're sticking it down inside the bucket, it's not flush against the ground, it's actually still elevated. So this way, when the water starts to rise up, it'll have a way, you know, it won't be, you know, straight on the bottom. It'll have a way to actually come up and be elevated off the bottom. And then you wanna stick your tube, like say if you have you have a tube from your pond pump, you can just basically place it straight down in here. So this way, when the water comes through the tube, it'll go down through the bottom and it'll rise up. So that's what you want to do. And you see that little black tube right there? That's connected to my pond pump. So you probably want to use a little piece of tube just like this and stick it down inside the PVC pipe into the bucket. Cut a hole in the bucket for the uniseal. Then you're gonna get your piece of PVC pipe, put that through, then you're gonna attach the 90-degree elbow. It won't hurt to add some silicone around the uniseal. Next, you wanna get a little basket and cut a hole in the top of it. This is gonna be for your other piece of PVC pipe that you're gonna use. For this piece of PVC pipe, you wanna cut it at a slant at the tip. So when you drop it down inside the basket, it can stay off the bottom. On top of the basket, we just put some lava rock. And then I put some pot scrubbies on top of the lava rock. And now I'm putting the pond filter media on top of the pot scrubbies. And I'm gonna put some more lava rock on the top of this just to hold it down. I also added some pea gravel for some extra filtration. Now it's the next day, time to test this bad boy out. All I did right here was use the tubing that's attached to my pond pump and stick it down inside of the PVC pipe. Water is entering the PVC pipe, going down to the bottom, and then rising up through all the filter media to clean the water.
Wow!
And just like that, we have a DIY pond filter that holds biological media and also mechanical media for under 30 bucks. If you want to see how I turn this into one of these, stay tuned. Place the shower drain underneath the lid so you have enough space to close it. Next, use a permanent marker to trace the inside of the shower drain. Put a dot in the middle in the event you want to use a hole saw. In the event that you don't have a hole saw handy, you can always do it manually with a box cutter. 1 down, 2 more to go. We're going to repeat this process 2 more times, once on each side, so we can have a total of 3 outflows. Now, we're going to turn the garbage can around and we're going to make a hole in the middle towards the bottom in the back of the garbage bin. As you can see, the clean out valve is at the bottom in the back and the outflow is at the top in the front. When you screw the clean out valve in, this is what it should look like. This is going to screw into the 1-inch bulkhead at the top of your filter. This is PVC cement, 1-inch T connector, 1-inch 90-degree elbow, 1-inch PVC pipe. Now let's recap. 1 90-degree elbow on each side facing the opposite way. So this way when the water comes down into the pipe, it comes out of each end at different angles, creating sort of a swirl effect. The PVC pipe in between are 3 inches long that connect to the T. Off camera, I added a 2-inch PVC pipes into the shower drains. They come with a rubber sleeve to grip the PVC pipe. I also decided to add some silicone to make sure that there are no leaks. This 1-inch bulkhead plays an important role on getting water to the inside of your filter. We are going to place this to one side of one of the outflows, and we're also going to connect 2 of these adapters to the 1-inch bulkhead. One on the outside, which will help to connect the pond pump, and one on the inside that will attach to a PVC pipe that goes into the filtration system. I cut a hole in the middle of a crate. Then I cut filter floss to the side that's needed. I put a hole in the middle of it so I could slide the PVC pipe through. Then I connected the PVC pipe bill to the bulkhead adapter. This connection allows you to connect the PVC pipe that will be attached to your pond pump, which in return will bring the pond water inside of the filter for filtration. It's time to clean our gravel, which is going inside of our filter. We're going to be using pea gravel, lava rock, and Mexican beach pebble. In this filter build, I'll be placing the largest rock on the bottom and working my way up to the smallest. I'm going to be placing them inside of mesh bags to make them easier to maintenance down the line. I decided to take the filter floss from my old pond filter and to incorporate it in the new pond filter to speed up the beneficial bacteria process. Now, I'm going to be adding the rocks on top. Now that I have the rocks on top of the filter floss, it's time to reposition them to figure out how I want to put this UV light in here to get the most out of it. The UV light is supposed to kill algae blooms, which basically keeps your water from turning green. These UV lights are very powerful, and it's important not to stare at them for too long because it can be harmful to your vision. So just give it a quick check to make sure that the light is actually working and that it's on, and then put the lid back on top. As you can see, the UV light is on and it's working, and everything seems to be going according to plan. Until this happened. Even though I used Teflon tape, the drain valve was leaking, and our inlet from our pond pump was also leaking. So I decided to do the only thing that I know how to, and that's to add silicone and to wait 24 hours for the silicone to cure. Looks like the silicone wins again. As you can see, no more leaking here, and no more leaking here. When it comes to fish keeping, you can never be too safe, so I decided to add a plug. And here we have it, folks, a bog style filter with a UV light. I love this filter build that I did. What I like most about this filter is it's a 2-in-1 filter. So now, this is what you call a filter hack. My last build video really set you guys up for success. It's all good. You're welcome. How you guys can thank me is to make sure that you share my content with your friends. Now let's go. So not only does it filtrate the water, but it also helps doing water changes. So now I no longer have to put an extra pond pump in here and waste electricity trying to get the water out. It's just so simple. Because when I built this, I put an outflow valve on it. So all I do is just open this bad boy up right here and let the water run out. Clean up my pond filter. I took everything apart to make some adjustments. So this right here, the rocks and the gravel that I had in here, give you a look inside what this filter build looks like. I'm gonna hose it down right here to get a lot of this junk out. What I'm doing is actually trying to fill this up right here. We got his water stirred up right there. I'm gonna open this valve right here to let it all drain out. This is how the outflow valve works. Put the hose in there. As you can see, the water's getting cleared up right there. Let it all drain out right here. I put all my filter media in laundry baskets to make it easier to lift out in case something like this in the long run was to occur. The cool thing is about this build is you don't want to glue your pieces together. I wouldn't have been able to pull it out so easily to pull it apart. I think what this build is, instead of using this crate, I'm gonna dumb it down to this little basket right here. With this crate right here, I was limited to the amount of filter media I could fit in there. But with this right here, as you can see, is a lot smaller than this crate. This way I can just pile on the stuff that I want at will. Water's all clear out of there. Go ahead and cut this hose off. I had a bit of algae bloom in here, so this is the reason why I want to modify this, so I could add more filter media on this. So what I'm going to do is, I actually bought some more filter floss pads, very similar to this one right here, but I bought a lot of it. So I'm just basically gonna put this basket down at the bottom and then connect it, and I'll show you when I get done. Now it's connected and ready for the media to go on top. I'm going to give this, well, yeah, because I don't want any of that dirt in there or whatever that may be in there. So I'm going to, I could do one or two things. I could turn the pump on and let it flush the route, but then I'll be doing a water change again. I don't want to do that. I'm just going to run the hose again in here. These are my other bags over here. I believe there's a bag underneath this, no? Oh, I have two bags. Might add a third one, but I have enough space now. As you can see, the water's filling up quite nicely. I'm just gonna open up this valve right here. And all that stuff flow out. Make that little basket floats. You gotta turn it around. All this is gonna weigh it down when I put the rocks on top of it. What I'm gonna do a little bit differently is, last time I had the floss, the filter floss at the bottom right here. This time I think I'm gonna switch that around. Last time I had the filter floss on top of this. I'm gonna change this around. I'm gonna actually put the rocks right here on top of this, so the filter floss will be easier for me to get to clean it out. I really won't have to touch the rocks because it'll contain all the beneficial bacteria. The filter floss is just to catch the small debris that gets through the rocks. So satisfying. I have a lot of built up beneficial bacteria in my filter floss that I want to keep. It'll take a while to build up. So what I'm going to do is get water from my previous pond. And this is how I'm going to clean filter media, as in to not disturb all the beneficial bacteria that I already have built up. Just like this. Now some of this is really good beneficial bacteria. If you have a really big pond, it takes a while to build up in there to get everything to work right, and I don't want to crash my whole pond system and all my fish to die. So I'm gonna play it safe for now. Just to top it off, I'm gonna clean out these rocks right here. The same pond water, beneficial bacteria. Keep beneficial bacteria in there. Just to top it off, because I'm gonna put the filter floss on top of it. I don't want the water pushing the filter floss up to where it clogs my pipes when the water is trying to go out the outflow. So it's good to have some little bags like this just to throw on top and place them just like this. Put these bad boys on top of the filter floss. This way when the water starts to flow, it doesn't lift up the filter floss and clog these pipes right here. All I have left to do now is to add my UV light, which now This also has enough, it has a lot of space as well in here now too. It has more space, you know, for the water to sit in here longer so it can zap all the algae bloom particles before it comes out of here. There you have it. The water's already starting to clear up. A lot actually. Wow.
These guys start off small, but guess what? The more you feed them, the more they grow. At this stage of growth, pellets are a safe bet. They can get all their vitamins, and they are less likely to choke on their food. Also, with pellets, you don't have to do any special preparations. But as they grow, so will their appetites. And soon, those same pellets will start to get costly. They will definitely eat you out of house and home. So I devised a plan that would be more cost effective for me and also more natural for the fish down the line. Tilapia. This is how I prepare it. First I get it, thaw it out from cold water. And after this, I send it to the chop shop. They love this stuff. Let me show you. I feed these guys 2 times a day and sometimes 3 times a day, depending on how much food that I feed them at a time. Unlike your typical goldfish, these guys won't overeat.
Now look at these little savages. Like I never ate before.
I also switch it up from time to time. These right here are giant mealworms and very high in protein. While feeding them a different variation of food, I get an idea of which fish like what. When I first introduced these to the predator pond, the peacock bass were the last ones to start to eat it. What I noticed was the peacock bass didn't really seem to like the giant mealworms, but the Oscar fish did. But ever since the Oscar fish were small, they've had a ferocious appetite and attacked anything I put into this pond. Right now, I'm feeding them earthworms, and this was the very first time that I witnessed this behavior. They're actually jumping up to grab it. Capturing this moment was cool.
Yeah, they about to eat real good right now. About to go crazy. Yeah, that's up, boy. No mercy.
So one day, I decided to buy 50 large crickets from the pet store to place them inside of the predator pond to see what would happen. And boy, did I get a treat. Let's watch the clip.
the net. This is not SeaWorld.
That is exactly what this is in my backyard oasis. This is SeaWorld.
They're hiding on the wall, on the grass.
Oh, he's gonna get him. You see, I have a net on top, not to keep things out, but to keep these monster fish in. They will jump at anything that they get a chance to, whether it's a cricket, a dragonfly, maybe even a possible squirrel or bird, I don't know. All I know is these fish are ferocious eaters. And, a fish got to eat. That's just what it is at the end of the day. A fish got to eat. And after a fish got to eat at this size, a fish got to poop a big size. So I got to stay on top of my water changes. Don't look at me like that. Y'all know what y'all just did. Don't let these cute little faces fool you. They are cute, but they do a lot of doo-doo. It's time for a water change. These right here are my DIY overflows. These have been a total game changer for me. You can see right now I'm about to add water back into the pond, but every time before I do this, I add water conditioner to make the tap water safe, and I always add a scoop of beneficial bacteria just so I can replace the beneficial bacteria that I took out. Filled it up quite nicely right here. The water level almost back to normal. Adding floating plants to your pond is also a benefit and is very beneficial. These floating plants are called water poppy. They help to filter out the nitrates. Basically, the leftover fish food and the fish poop, they feed on that, and they use it as fertilizer to grow, and in return, they remove the toxins out of the water, and they also add shade. The fish really like this plant. They use it for shelter and they use it for coverage. It just makes them feel a lot safer, just knowing that they can hide under here if a bird flies up above. They're doing a little pond maintenance on a hot day like this. Put some fresh cool water up in there. Also, what you see, man, this plant it exploded. That one little piece exploded all over the pond. Look at that. Beautiful. The cool thing what I like about this is it brings out yellow flowers on this particular plant as a water poppy. So in the daytime, the flowers open up, and at nighttime it's closed. So I just got one right there so far, but it's gonna be full of little yellow plants across the top. And all this the vegetation is good to help basically to filter out all the nitrates in the pond, as well as cover it from the hot sunny days like this and keep the algae down. Dope. This plant started off maybe about as big as this little section right here is what it started off as, and has just taken over the whole pond. This is one plant. This is from one piece. I cut it up a few times and just let it chill. Now it's covering basically the whole top, which is pretty cool. The only downside of this is if you have other plants underneath this that need to grow, this plant blocks the sunlight out. I also have some hornworts in here as well. The hornwort and the water poppy, they compete for nutrients and they compete for space. It's always best to give them a trim. Also, if the plant gets too out of control, it will be hard to target which fish that you want to feed. And not only that, it will even be hard to see them. After cutting this plant back, I can now see my fish, and I can also target the fish that I want to feed. And as you can see, I have plants at the bottom. Now they are able to get some sunlight to continue to grow, so they also can help filter out the nitrates as well. The only drawback that I found so far in having plants planted in the substrate is that Oscars will move these plants around to however they want them. The Oscars are the interior decorators of this pond. No one else cares. Everyone else just swims around minding their business, doing their own thing, but not the Oscars. Even though the Oscars are the smallest fish, they run this whole pond. I usually experience algae blooms during the summer. It's when since you get an algae bloom outbreak like I did. So today what I did was try to clean up all the string algae along the sides because it's looking like it was trying to take over my water parameters. So now I'm doing a really big water change after scrubbing some of the insides towards the bottom. I'm gonna refill it up and try to get some of this little small green plants right here and try to clean up some more around this area. Y'all see what it look like when it clear up. I then decided to clean my filter media. Since I was already cleaning the pond, I figured why not clean the filter? In most cases, I'm not gonna say all, I'm just gonna say most, you're supposed to rinse out the filter pads with pond water. You're supposed to get a bucket of pond water, put the filter pads in and give them a swish around. But in this case, these filter pads were so dirty that I just really wanted to give it a good clean with the hose water. And the reason why you want to clean it with pond water is to not disturb the beneficial bacteria. But in my case, I have biological filter media as well, so I'm really not worried about destroying any of the beneficial bacteria because I have more than enough. They reside inside of my lava rock, and with the lava rock, I'm not cleaning that. I'm so glad I decided to clean these filter pads because I had no idea that they were this filthy. After cleaning them, I put them right back inside my DIY filter, and the very next day, this is what it looked like. As you can see, after yesterday's clean, you can see all of the fish now. It's less than 24 hours later, the water changes and you're scrubbing and you're doing all I have to do to get this water back clear, nice and clear for the fish. Yeah, like y'all never ate before. There you go, I was looking for you. Hope you didn't get eaten. This right here is a Centodonus catfish. A lot of people call it a featherfin catfish or the upside down catfish, whatever you want to call it. This is the first time that I actually saw him swimming upside down. I know that they do this, but this is the first time that I witnessed it. What I find fascinating about this catfish is most catfish are bottom feeders, but this one evolved to the point where he swims upside down and can eat like this if there are pellets at the surface if there's no food on the bottom. This is genius, but you can see how different species evolve over time. 3 days later, you can see such a big difference. This water is crystal clear. You can see every fish, every plant, every lava rock on the ground. This is incredible. When you feed the fish heavily, water changes are a must. Plants are a must. Cleaning your filter media is a must. My fish have a pretty good temperament, and I think it's because I got them all around the same time when they were inside of the tank, but at the same time, they're still a monster fish, and they are still predators. If you want to introduce another fish into their environment, you have to introduce other fish that are around the same size, or at least they are a little bit aggressive. Within my backyard oasis, some of the challenges that I faced had to deal with adding other monster fish in here that were a little bit smaller, and they got eaten. These peacock bass are notorious baby Oscar killers. What I noticed was the larger Oscars never bothered with the smaller Oscars when I put them in here. They kind of form a pack. The reason I think that is because there are other large predator fish in this pond, and the Oscars are smart enough to realize that there is strength in numbers. Even though the Arowanas are much larger than the Oscar fish, they don't dare to mess with any of them. So if you're thinking about setting up a pond with predator fish, I hope that I've been able to give you guys some insight from my experience. Having big fish means having big responsibilities. These fish are hardy but delicate at the same time. And if you make one mistake, they will suffer the consequences. It's moments like these that make me fall in love with the fish hobby all over again. Seeing how these giants swim so gracefully through the water with no care in the world. Moments like these make me reminisce on how small they were when I first got them and what a journey it has been getting them from out of the tank into the pond outside. These arowanas are over 2 feet and pushing towards 3. These arowanas have had the biggest growth spurt out of all of my monster fish. Bro, how do you keep ending up? How you get up there, fam? This is the second time that my peacock bass ended up on top of the net. I don't know how he got up there, but he ended up on top of the net. Come here. Where you going? Come here. Come to daddy. Come here. Come here. Come here. Come here. Don't make me come get you. Bruh. I later discovered that there was a small hole that was probably made for one of the arowanas jumping up and breaking through it, which allowed the peacock bass to swim through it and end up on top of the net. I swear, if I don't come out here on certain days, come here. Easy. Hey. Easy. Okay. Daddy got you. Daddy got you. Hey. There we go. Look how big he is. Look how big this boy is. The day after I found him on top of the net, he was swimming face down, tail up, so I thought it was something that would correct itself overnight. But the day after that, when I went out to check on the pond again, I saw him basically floating to the top. From doing a little bit more research after the fact, I found out that while he was on top of the net, he had probably gulped in too much air and it had affected his swim bladder. Basically, too much gas had entered his intestines, and I see a lot of people nowadays feeding their fish peas, and also they use Epsom salt in a quarantine tank to help the fish release gas. I wish I would have found this out sooner, because then I probably could have saved him. Even though this was out of my control, in a way I still felt like this was my fault. This was my first time keeping monster fish, and I felt like had I known these things beforehand or been more knowledgeable, I could have saved him. But at the same time, if this wouldn't have happened, I wouldn't have done the research on it to learn about it. So by the same token, I really couldn't beat myself up too much. I just had to be prepared for the next time. As monster fish keepers, we experience things like this from time to time. We just have to learn from our mistakes and just be better prepared if a situation like this happens again in the future. Because of this, I now keep frozen peas in my freezer. Later that day, I replaced the net over the pond just to make sure there weren't any holes that any fish could swim out of. I had to act fast because I didn't want to lose any more fish. All the fish appear to be fine. No other swim bladder issues that I'm noticing in these fish. Everyone is swimming good, looking good. The pond appears to be very peaceful. Everyone's just doing their own thing. But little did I know that this was the quiet before the storm. Man, it's the second time I done lost 2 fish in 2 days. The very next morning, I came out. How? And I found yet another fish on top of the net. And this time, I really have no clue as to how, because I'm inspecting it now and I don't see any holes in the net whatsoever. So now, this raises my suspicions. I don't know whether these fish are jumping out or if there's something getting inside of the pond and pulling them out. Only time will tell. The very next day after this, so this is 3 days in a row that I've lost 3 fish. The very next day, I find my arowana had jumped out of the pond. So now I'm determined to figure out what exactly is going on. Arowana typically jump out when they get spooked. So in order for him to get scared enough to jump out of the pond, there's something going on. So you know what? I decided to set up a camera to see exactly what's going on back here. Let's watch this clip together. Now pay close attention to detail. Right here, it appears that my arowana got spooked, and by him panicking, it caused a chain reaction. I don't have any lights inside of this pond, so I'm guessing what probably triggered this is that my arowana probably saw a shadow or some sort. It could have even been a bug that flew by and appeared a lot bigger, and that's probably what spooked him to the point to jump out. I was so shocked when I saw this video, because then I absolutely could understand the power that these fish possess. And obtaining this type of power, it was apparent to me that once again, I would have to make an upgrade, because clearly they've also outgrown this enclosure as well, just like they outgrew their 75-gallon tank. Also, it was a good thing I set this camera up, because I was able to come out and save the other peacock bass that got stranded on top of the net. On the previous episode, I came out in the morning and I saw one of my peacock bass swimming on top of the net, and I had absolutely no idea how he got up there. So what I ended up doing was taking a closer look, and I discovered that there was a small hole that he managed to swim through, and that's how he ended up on top. The hole in the net most likely was caused by one of the arowanas jumping up late at night. This was the first time that this ever happened, and I'm glad I was able to come out to find him on top of the net and not somewhere in the grass. And just when I thought things couldn't get worse, 2 days later, I noticed he was having difficulty swimming. After doing some extensive research, the cause of this was when he was on top of the net, he most likely gulped in too much air. and by doing so, caused him to have problems with his swim bladder, something called swim bladder disease. There are a few different ways that a fish can get this. They can get this from rapidly eating, they can get this from overeating, they can get this from high levels of nitrates in the water, they can get this from constipation, or they can get this from gulping in too much air. And had I been more knowledgeable, I could have saved him by just feeding him some peas. Later that day, I replaced the net just to make sure there weren't any more holes that the fish could swim out of. I did this ASAP because I didn't want what had occurred the other day to happen again, and I didn't want to lose any fish anytime soon. But little did I know that this was the quiet before the storm. The next day when I came out, I saw something that I didn't want to see, and that was another dead fish. I had now lost 2 fish in the past 2 days. And this time, after walking around the pond and inspecting very carefully, I didn't see any holes in sight. This time, I really don't know how this peacock bass could have ended up on top. And the very next morning when I woke up, I came out to inspect the pond once again, and look what I found. I found that my arowana had jumped out of the pond and landed on the side of the grass. So at this point, I didn't know what was going on, but I planned to get to the bottom of it. And there was only one thing that I could think of to do, and that was to install a camera and roll the playback footage. Arowanas are a strong and hardy fish, but they also get spooked rather easily, especially in the dark when I don't have any lights on back here. So it seemed to me that while the arowana fish was swimming, and it was possibly asleep while it was still swimming, it's quite possible that it may have bumped into another fish while swimming and got spooked, and that caused a chain reaction. But in any event, just from watching the playback footage and seeing how powerful these fish are, and it became very clear to me that these are monster fish and they are going to get bigger. And if I wanted to keep them around, I would have to upgrade my pond to be able to accommodate their size. It was time for an upgrade. And this pond was a lot bigger than the pond that I had previously, which was an 8x8. This one was 16 feet long and 10 feet wide, which means that this can hold up to 3,600 gallons. This pond was absolutely huge, which means that not only could it accommodate the size of my monster fish that I'm already currently growing out, but this also means that there is enough space in here to house more monster fish that I want to get in the future. And also, I didn't have to pay a dime for this pond. My sister gave it to me because she was going to get rid of it. Thanks, sis. I appreciate you. Now let's start moving these fish around. Thank you guys for making it easy. It appears Oscars are the easiest. One-handed, baby. One-handed, baby. Man, these Oscars never go down without a fight. Now that I have him still, you can check out the patterns on this beautiful red albino Oscar right here. Pretty. I got you, boy. I've been so feisty. Look at these plants in the pond. I love having plants in here because it helps to keep down the nitrates, but it also adds luster and greenery to it. But it's kind of difficult to see the fish
And they are definitely using it to their advantage because they're hiding from me. Check out the colors and the pattern on this tiger Oscar. I remember when I first got him, he was probably the smallest Oscar that I owned, but he soon caught up to speed once I put him inside of the big pond.
Getting rid of all the water in the pond. See how low I can get it.
I'm trying to get the water as low as possible without damaging the pump because I know I have to get these Arowanas out and it won't be easy.
Gotta trust the process. Y'all in here good? Alright, cool. Look at that beast right there. Look at.
This is a beautiful catfish species. This is my Synodontis featherfin catfish. They're only supposed to grow about 6 to 8 inches in the tank, but in the pond they get much bigger, as you can see. And this guy has put on size quickly.
Look at that beauty. Man, I got this back in September. Synodontis catfish right there, man. Beautiful. Look at them all gray. Oh, you quirking. Wow. You can see these Arowanas.
These Arowanas are big, and I knew they were big, but I didn't realize how big they were until I lowered the water and it was time to remove them. And when you look at those scales on the top of their head, you can see some discoloration. That's from them jumping up at night and getting their scales caught in the net and banging around in the pond. Not only are these fish huge, but they are also very powerful, and I have to be very careful when moving them.
Getting large, quite large. You hit them up real nice, big boy. Real nice. You gotta get these big jokers out of here, man. These bats look big. Golly. Sheesh.
I moved the Arowanas out, but I'm still trying to get this pond down enough so I can get the rest of this water out, because I have to move this pond. And when it's filled with water, it's very heavy. As you can see, we moved the pond to the side, and now we're trying to level out the area where the old pond was so we can prep it for the new pond. Now we've moved the pond into the area where we want it. All we have to do now is fill it with water and try to get all the wrinkles out. I initially had all the fish inside of a garbage bin, but I decided to take them out because I was running out of space, and also the Arowanas didn't have any room to swim in there because they were too long for it. In hindsight, I wish I was more prepared before I moved these fish. Looking back at this clip, I could have just built a 5-gallon bucket filter and just let it run on this pool pond for a few days while I prepped the bigger pond. I wasn't prepared and I didn't think everything through. I had a busy schedule for the week, and since I had help, I was trying to take advantage of it. If I were to try to break one pond down, remove the fish, and then put another pond up, I wouldn't have been able to accomplish all these things in one day without help. But now looking back on it, all the things that I managed to do in this one day was all done in vain, and I was quickly about to realize that.
One-handed. Uh-oh.
This right here is one of my red Oscars, and I love the colors on them and their patterns, especially when the sun is hitting the pond. They just look beautiful in the water. One by one, I put all the fish inside of the pond. The amount of space that these fish are getting ready to have in this pond is ridiculous. I never imagined that I was going to have to upgrade from the previous pond that I already had. I did a lot of water changes on my previous pond, and my fish were used to large water changes, so I didn't think much about this 100% water change. I added my water conditioner in it, which basically makes tap water safe, and I also put some beneficial bacteria inside of it. But none of that matters unless the pond has already been cycled. And as a new fish keeper,
I was about to learn this the hard way. At this very moment is when I realized that my silver arowana was going into shock. With his mouth opening like that, I knew that something was wrong. If one fish is going into shock, that means potentially that all the other fish might follow suit. All of a sudden it dawned on me that I made a huge mistake. Before adding fish to a pond, you have to let it cycle. You have to allow the beneficial bacteria to build up inside of the filter. And to make matters worse, I just realized that my filter is now leaking from one of the outflows. This happened during the moving process.
Definitely got water moving up the pump, right? Or is that water moving down the pump?
It might be pulling up.
Yeah, because you got water coming out this bottom down here.
My outflow started to leak. This happened during the moving process. We somehow wiggled this PVC pipe out, and in return, it moved a lot of the silicone that was around it. And in order to fix this, I would have to shut the pond pump down in order to re-silicone these pipes. In order to re-silicone these pipes, this means that you have to let them sit for 24 hours, and that wasn't going to work out. Best thing that I could do was move the filter closer to the pond to try to minimize the leaking. Because if I can move it closer to the pond, that means that a lot of the water will go back into the pond. Everything that could have possibly went wrong by me not taking the time to plan in advance. I should have let the pond cycle for at least 3 days to a week before adding these fish. You should wait at least 72 hours before putting fish in your new pond, especially if the water is new. This way, the water temperature and chemistry can level out. Drastic changes in either can have a serious impact on the health of your fish. Ammonia and nitrate are extremely toxic to fish. That's why cycling is so important. High amounts of ammonia will literally burn them. Many fish do not survive cycling, which is why so many people buy a fish, put it in the tank, and then find it dead a week later. And there's another factor that I did not take into consideration before adding these fish to the pond. This was during the winter time. And during the winter time, I forgot that the water temperature fluctuates when it's coming from the outside hose. In the summertime, it's a lot warmer. This by far was the biggest mistake that I have ever made in fish keeping. I grew these fish out from babies and now had to witness them dying off one by one. And there was nothing I could do about it. My recklessness in the end cost all my monster fish their lives, and there was no one I could blame but myself. This definitely could have been avoided if I would have just taken the time and been more responsible. These fish were the main reason why I fell in love with the hobby in the first place. All these fish had different personalities and also were unique in their own way and were very special to me. And when I lost them, I knew that the fish hobby for me would never be the same. This was a learning experience for me. In any hobby, there can be lots of up and downs, a lot of bittersweet moments. Would I ever grow out monster fish again? I don't know. If I do, you would have to find out in season 2.
In season 1, this is where it all started. One tank, big dreams. I had no clue what I was doing. Mistakes were made and lessons were learned. But this was the beginning of something wild. Up next, season 2. the rebirth of giants. Let's take a dive in.